There was a Twitter debate. You know, the infamous Twitter debate. There was a Twitter conversation. Disclaimer, it was a prank. And the funny thing is, I didn't really even engage in stuff because, first of all, like, I'm just tired of writing paragraphs and think pieces on Twitter. Like, it's really old and boring. I have better things to do. Like, I'd rather just wait to the pod like we are now and just spend 1 hour a week talking about these things. But heads up, it is a prank. But this couple pranked the internet by, and I think I kind of explained this to you earlier, but I'm kind of more explaining for people listening who might not know. I think what the story was that she has 4 kids, and like 3 of them were from either multiple baby daddies or another baby daddy. But one kid she shared with her most recent baby daddy, and he came to her house with food just for one of the kids, his own kid. And keep in mind, he was the baby daddy. He's not her current partner who share a kid. She's single. He comes, brings the food just for the one kid that they share together and not the other kids that she shares with different men. So the conversation was, should he be obligated to bring food for other kids that's not his? Like, he's doing his job, right? He's being a parent to his child. He's not her partner. Like, even though if they were dating, then yeah, maybe you could bring food for the other kids despite it being your kid. Because when you date somebody, you're kind of accepting those kids as your own, like you being a stepdad. But no, they weren't dating. So that's what the conversation was. Like, was he wrong for only bringing food for his kid? Half of Twitter was saying, no, he's not wrong. Like, that's her kids too. She could feed her own kids, or the dad, whoever those kids' dads are, could pay for them. This man is doing his job. He's feeding his kid. He's doing his job. The other half of Twitter was, oh, you guys don't have class. I was raised with class. I was raised where I would bring food for everybody. You know, I'm not gonna just do that. Those kids are gonna remember that for life. You know, I was personally, he's doing his job. I don't care. Like, yeah, those kids might be upset at her and that might scar them. But it's like, then you as the mother make sure you get food for your kids too, knowing that the dad's coming to bring food for his. You get the food for them so they're not feeling left out. That's not his job, you know? That's what I was thinking. But I just thought it was funny conversation. Like, it's just funny to see the things that the internet be talking about and our community be in shambles about. That's why we don't have reparations yet, because this is what we spend our time doing, arguing about this. But what do you think? Do you think he should bring food for everybody? And you know what, just to say too, it's funny that people are saying I was raised with class. I'm like, you were raised with class, but you were talking, like, you know, she talking about the situation. I'm like, but what's classy about having 4 baby daddies? Like, let's be for real. So, yeah. What do you think? As a man, because you're a man too, so it's kind of, you know.
Oh, well, thanks for noticing.
I was saying it's kind of like, you know, you can kind of speak on more on it from, you know, see.
I'm never taking care of nobody else's kids, but first and foremost, the problem, I know that these sort of things spark a lot of conversations, and I can appreciate it for that part of it, but I hate when people do pranks like this or do like thought-provoking sort of skits or things like that, because the problem with people in general is that I would say that 99% of people that exist don't have common sense. So the issue with this is when people do pranks like this and the actors in the videos and stuff like that, they get their jollies off because they can see how they threw the internet into a frenzy and it's ha funny to them. But in my opinion, for the way social media works, it's so much wider of an audience that I think people even comprehend. That same prank is going to end up on Facebook with a whole bunch of people that have no context to the video at all, think it's going to be real. You said, hey, y'all, we pranked everybody.
But they don't know.
But they're not going to see, hey, y'all, we pranked everybody. And then it becomes this whole other, like, influential thought that's now planted in somebody's mind.
And it's damaging to the Black community if you really want to get into that.
Yeah.
That's where stereotypes come from.
Right. So to me, I hate pranks like this. Mm-hmm. I hate when people do these videos. You got your clicks and your views. Cool.
But this trickle effect was probably crazy.
It's so much more than you probably would even comprehend. Because that's what I was saying. I'm like, when you make videos, you don't know where it goes. Because there's so many videos that will be on, somebody will make a TikTok and that TikTok ends up on Twitter and ends up on Facebook and Reddit and all these other different places that you don't even post the content on those pages, and that's where it is. It's in a blog somewhere.
It's in a group chat somewhere.
Some old 70, 60-year-old person is going to be talking about the video. Like, did you see this? Showing people on their Facebook. So I hate these sort of videos.
Remember this other people did a prank like this. It was not like, it wasn't the similar, but remember those 3 people that did a prank where she pretended like her friend was dancing with her man in the club or something.
Yeah.
Like the karaoke thing.
Yeah.
And that was a prank.
Then it took over the whole internet, and then you see people like, oh, did you see this? Yeah. And it's like, I just hate, pranks is not for me. Yeah. I think it's
so, like I said, it's just so damaging to the community. Like, I'm all for Black empowerment, and that's literally destroying that.
So I hate to be that guy, but I'm always going to be that guy.
It's good to be that guy.
It's great to be that guy because it's true. Like, look at the base, at the root of it. One thing I've liked that I've seen on TikTok is like when people do like some weird TikTok and then people in the comments are like, hey, I got a video idea, like in quotations, because it's like you sat there, planned it out, and this is what,
it's this so is what cringe. You put out. Like the people that do these fake stuff is so cringe. I'm like, do you guys like really watch back the video and be like, and this is it? Like,
this the one.
Do you not feel whack?
Now it works and it accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. So
exactly,
good for them. But in general, and that's why I don't even like participating in certain things because I don't play on the internet. I don't watch videos like that. I'm not commenting, liking, sharing. I don't play in that part of the internet. But for the topic at hand, since we're talking about it, I'm not taking care of nobody else's kids. I'm not bringing anybody anything. I also would never have a baby mother anyway, so it's not even applicable to me. Exactly. And, yeah, that's really it.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. Like, that's not his job. He's doing his job. That's his kid. He's not obligated to pay his money for someone else's kids.
Also, you shouldn't date people that already have kids.
Exactly. I don't think anybody should.
Honestly.
I haven't seen any good situation come out of it at all. Like, I've seen rare stuff. I mean, and now I sound like a hypocrite because we were saying earlier, we don't see the world, the whole scope. So, yeah, there might be a lot of successful co-parenting.
No, I know for a fact there is.
But for me personally,
highly don't recommend.
I don't recommend it. I feel like in the Black community, it's so toxic. I don't know why our community is so toxic, but it's just bad. Like, I had an ex-friend, you probably guess, who dated a guy who had a kid, and it was just very toxic.
I think that
it was a mess.
You have to be assumptive because there's 3 scenarios, right? So, and this is me being facetious and whatever, label me, cool. In my opinion, there's 3 situations for why that person is a single parent. 1, they're the issue in the relationship and why they're not together anymore. 2, the other person was the issue in the relationship and why they're not together, so they're probably a bad judge of character. And 3, the other person died. So those are the 3 situations for me, and I don't think that any of those situations are something that you should want to bet your life on, so you should probably avoid them at all costs.
Yeah. I mean, I feel bad for people whose partners die.
Right.
And I feel like
Wait, did I just say that? Yeah, that came out crazy.
I mean, they could have some.
No, yeah, sorry.
Those usually work out.
Yeah, I didn't mean to say. Yeah, what I was speaking to was the first 2 parts.
Yeah.
The third one is just.
You gotta be mindful. You're going into a sensitive situation too.
Yeah, that too. But I actually didn't even mean to say that. I'm more so meant to say that just to say what the 3 scenarios of why they're a single parent.
Yeah, why they're a single parent.
But the first two is like either they're an issue or their partner was an issue. So either they're the problem or they're a bad judge of character of the other person.
And the other person, if they're the problem, could cause problems for you.
Right, exactly.
So it just gets too deep. It's like,
right. If somebody passed away, we're not. Yeah. So sorry, didn't want to sound insensitive there, but.
Yeah. And that's why it kind of goes back to our first conversation. Like I emphasize really finding your person, getting married first, if that's what you believe in. If not, then make whatever commitment you guys making, then have a kid. And like I guess, like really get to know the person. Like people really take having kids and stuff like it's like a joke. Like it's not a game. These are human beings. Really make a good judgment of character. Really say, is this a person that I feel like is going to be a good dad to my kids? Or is this a woman who's going to be a good mom to my kids? Because people do that, and then like, look, now if that scenario was real, and I'm sure scenarios like that have actually happened. Look what the mom is yelling outside the window, and now the kids are consuming, and now the mom's gonna go back. You see him? This is why men are trash. You see how he didn't bring food for you? Like, and you might be saying that to a son. Like, it's just so damaging.
And then the son hates the father, and then when he makes it to the NFL, he's not gonna ever acknowledge his dad. Yeah,
it's just so toxic. Like, it's just so nasty. There's so many just damaged people out here who just don't cut the damage off and just keep going. Like, I don't get that. Like,
I feel like so much of it comes back to money somehow.
A large percent.
Because I know money doesn't solve all problems, and people say that people with money typically have more problems than anything. I don't know how true that is. We probably got to look at the stats, and stats don't tell everything, but at least it gives us a better idea of it.
Yeah.
But I think that the reason why I say that is because typically and you can see this driving through any place in any state. I was just driving through Summit, New Jersey, earlier today. For those of you, our listeners that are not from New Jersey, Summit, New Jersey is a well-off, upper middle class, upper class community town where everything is old money. It looks like old money.
Yeah.
There's a downtown center where they sell Lululemon and smoothies and
there's a
vegan
there's
eats.
a CB2.
Yes.
Yeah, it's one of those.
One of those ritzy sort of places.
Yeah, older architecture for these mansions.
Right, colonial style housing. A lot of people with money, people that have worked in New York for a long time,
Yeah,
that are executive levels. Yeah, pretty close to New York.
It has like one of the infamous malls.
Right.
Short Hills Mall. So if anybody's familiar, it's a very luxurious mall.
Right.
A lot of
Louis Vuitton, a lot of Dior, all that kind of stuff.
Rolex. Yeah.
And also drove through Newark, New Jersey this weekend.
Yeah, yesterday.
Completely different landscape and the way it looks. And for me, it's not so much that money is the solver of everything, but what money does afford people is opportunities first and foremost, but also it's the education thing for me. So the reason why I feel like people with less money end up with these sort of thoughts and mindsets is because of the mentality. And I think that
That's true.
people with money have a different sort of mentality and a different set of morals. And not that it's necessarily better, but I think it's different. And in certain instances, yeah, we do have to acknowledge that it is better. A better education does make you a better person.
Mm-hmm.
And how you're raised. So if you're being raised by somebody that's educated or somebody that's not educated, you're going to have a different experience. You're probably, if you're on this side, you're not going to be in the best place.
Yeah.
Because most of the people end up being how they were raised.
Yeah.
And that's where you learn it. So in my opinion, I think that things usually typically come back down to money because of the education aspect, because you don't really see. We do have to look at the numbers, because a lot of things that I feel like my opinion is based off of is assumptive, because I don't know 100% concrete on the numbers. But I think we can assume that the amount of people that have baby mothers and baby fathers is higher in the lower income and less educated.
Backwards, because it's like that's when we talked about abortion last week. It's like, why are you pushing out these kids and you're broke?
So I think these sort of scenarios, and not that they don't happen on the other side either, because they 100% do, but I think that more of these scenarios apply to the lower income sort of racket and lower education.
Yeah, because they're more like, especially with the food situation, they're more like, it's almost like the survival instincts kick in. They're very like, when it comes to like rationing money and food, it's like that survival instinct. But then you have on the other fence people who are poor, but still they put family and community and taking care of the kids over anything.
Right.
So,
They'll spend it down to the last dollar.
Yeah, to make sure everybody eats and everybody's comfortable and has a place to sleep. And I respect that. I do.
Which is fine.
But at the same time, it's like he's not obligated to do that. Like, if that's what you want to do, if you were in that situation, then you do that. But he's not obligated.
Because if that's the case, then you might as well just be a free lunch program and pay for everybody's kids.
Yeah, and that's not fair. Why is that fair for him when those kids got their own dad and,
right,
their mom who's complaining about it? Like, you go bring them McDonald's. Like, you go get them McDonald's. Or is it because you don't got money? Because you were relying on a man for money. And that's why you're mad. Because he left you.
Everything comes back down to money.
Yeah. Which is sad. Like, I'm not trying to be insensitive, but sometimes, like I said,
you are.
No, I always keep.
Because I need to say it because
in a tough way.
Because people need to hear it.
No, but for real, people do. Because like people are in these situations and then they make their lives miserable. Like you don't got money. Why are you having a kid? Like sometimes it's like people got to hear it that way because like you need to hear the harsh reality. Like why are you putting yourself in a worse financial situation where you're yelling at a man about McDonald's? Like
what's funny is kind of like the analogy that we were talking about earlier with chess, where everybody can physically see a chessboard when the chessboard is set up, but not everybody knows what the next move should be. And I feel like most people don't even know what the first move should be. And it's like one of those things, right? Like we can all physically see this chessboard, but one person sees how it ends. Yeah, one person sees how it ends, and the other person has no idea how to move the pawn one space up.
Yeah.
Because things are very simple. Like things could be very simple. You have financial troubles, don't have a kid.
But people don't even think about the next tomorrow. So they laying up and they letting a guy do whatever to get them pregnant, and don't think about the consequences. And that is a deeper conversation too, because like you said, everything is learned behavior. They learned that from their mom, or they never got like taught, taught. I don't know.
Common sense.
Yeah, responsibility and like.
If I don't have money, maybe I shouldn't inherit this expense by having a kid.
Maybe I shouldn't let this guy.
That doesn't have money.
Me. Maybe I should buy a condom.
Unless he has money.
Yeah, I mean, but even then.
Even then, it's not okay.
It's kind of wild.
But at least make the better decision, and he should have money.
Yeah. So sometimes I'm sorry. Sometimes like I said, I'm kind of a selfish person. Sometimes it's hard for me to feel bad for those people. It is.
Yeah.
But we just need to stop these, like you said, stop these pranks, please, because it's damaging. And I'm very pro. We got to get our black people together, and us black people need to get our reparations. So we should spend time on the internet, coming up with task force and getting and actually putting in work in and demand this stuff instead of arguing about stuff like this. It's just crazy.
Arguing about buying lunch.
Yeah, when you could get reparations and give maybe a little $1 million, and don't know how to worry about this.
Yeah.
And by black people, I mean black Americans. I always gotta make that specified.